Big Monday presented by Joseph A. Bank continues. Coming to you from Morgantown, West Virginia. It's a top 20 Big 12 matchup between number 12 Texas Tech, here to face number 20 West Virginia. And what promises to be an emotional evening here, it's senior night at West Virginia, the final home game for Javon Carter and Daxter Miles Jr., a backcourt to remember in Mountaineer lore. They came in together 4 years ago and ushered in the Press Virginia era here in Morgantown. It's already been a multiple Kleenex evening here before the game started. Javon and Daxter giving a big smooch at center court here at WVU Coliseum, and that's where we are, alongside the Dean of Big 12 Broadcasting, Fran Fraschilla. I'm Rich Hollenberg. Certainly an emotionally charged night, and we'll talk about those two seniors coming up in the telecast. But Javon Carter has etched his name in West Virginia lore, one of the all-time greats at this university.
Well, he came here as an unheralded recruit, and he's going to leave here as one of the most popular players ever, one of the winningest players ever, and someone that's going to have a place in the hearts of Mountaineer fans forever and ever.
The numbers speak for themselves with Javon Carter. And oh, by the way, we've got a pretty good and important game here. The Big 12 standings, still a lot to be decided. These two tied for second place with a chance to claim a share of the regular season crown. Unfortunately for 12th ranked Texas Tech, Fran, they're coming into this contest a little bit shorthanded. 3 different starters will not be starting tonight.
Probably judicious. Big week ahead in Kansas City. Chris Beard's going to rest what seems to be his 3 starters.
Keenan Evans is dressed but won't start. Same thing with Zach Smith. Justin Gray didn't make the trip from Lubbock. Javon Carter, number 2 in gray, controls the opening tip for West Virginia. Inside, Carter goes outside. Miles the air ball, and that's something that West Virginia fans need to be wary of in an emotional night like this. How could that affect West Virginia?
My experience has always been that oftentimes those seniors get off to a slow start because of the emotion involved in their final home game.
There's Issa Ahmad grabbing the rebound for West Virginia. Miles, number 4 in gray, gives it up to his fellow senior backcourt mate on senior night here in Morgantown. There's Ahmad from the wing. Kanate grabbed the weak side rebound, but it goes off his back, out of bounds. It'll be Red Raiders basketball. Your officials tonight, Michael Stevens, Keith Kimball, and Terry Weimer. And there's Bob Huggins, 7th all-time in wins, 3rd active, 840, and he had nothing but glowing things to say about his graduating seniors.
And he should. They not only have been great players, but remember the year before they arrived, this was a reeling West Virginia team in their opening couple of years of the Big 12.
Asked him earlier today at practice, what are the things you'll miss the most about Carter and Miles Jr.? And he said, just their work ethic. They never were a problem, great students, didn't get in trouble off the court or on the court. He always knew they would bring their lunch packs. 23 in red is a real freshman to keep an eye on. Jarrett Culver for Texas Tech.
And no Keenan Evans, as you mentioned, so handling the ball, critical for Texas Tech tonight. And in this offense, everybody handles the ball, Rich.
And that's going to be another turnover for Texas Tech. We just showed you Bob Huggins, 36th year as a head coach. On the other sideline, it's Chris Beard in his 2nd season in Lubbock. Spent 10 years as a Texas Tech assistant before going on a little bit of a nomadic head coaching journey throughout, and he found himself back where he would consider home in Lubbock, Texas.
Looks like they might want to change out the basketball. It's a 9 o'clock start, and a lot of these fans, Rich, come from all over the state of West Virginia. Many of them down south in Charleston, so this is going to be a late night for them. I'm sure they don't exactly enjoy this little break in the action.
And a matchup certainly of 2 of the best defensive teams, not only in the Big 12, Fran, but really in the country, especially when you look at Texas Tech. If you don't know a lot about them, coming in ranked 12th in the country, they've lost 3 straight after a 7-game winning streak, but they're 7th in the nation in points allowed.
Yeah, they've hung their hat on really good half-court defense. As you mentioned it earlier, Chris Beard's main mentor, Bob Knight, spent 10 years with Bob and Pat Knight, so he understands how to play excellent half-court defense.
Here's Ahmad coming off an 18-point effort in their win last time out against Iowa State. Inside, Konate.
Great feed by Daxter Miles. He threw that pass away from the defender, perfectly placed as Konate called for the ball with his right hand.
And as is tradition here, the Mountaineer Maniacs throw confetti, and some of it got on the floor, so we have a stoppage in play. Here's Culver. His shot off the mark. A rebound to Konate.
We may highlight Miles and Carter tonight, but keep your eye on number 50, Sagaba Konate, who's quickly becoming a Big 12 star. This Texas Tech offense, all 5 players will handle the ball, and this guy can shoot from outside. Tommy Hamilton.
Long rebound to Carter. The no look. Well, Carter and Miles haven't scored yet, but both have pretty assists so far.
Well, 3 baskets, 3 assists for the whole team.
That one is blocked. Here's Carter, pulled the trigger. A 10-0 run to start senior night in Morgantown. We're back in 30 seconds.
Got it. Okay.
Well, the seniors are already starting out hot on senior night, Fred.
Yeah, but these guys have done it before. There's the drive, the kick, Daxter Miles knocking it down, and then you're feeling it, right? Nice bounce pass, no look. And then Javon Carter, he knocks down a deep 3. This is a quick start.
There's a turnover caused by Press Virginia. 3 minutes gone by, all Mountaineers so far.
3 freshmen on the floor for Texas Tech. Remember, they are without 3 starters. So this is a challenge.
Miles leaves it off for Ahmad again. Zaire Smith got it taken away by Carter. And an easy 2. Offensive foul, Texas Tech.
Offensive foul.
Wesley Harris bore the brunt of that one.
13 seconds. Substitution. Checking in for the Mountaineers. People Holden and Lamont West.
Texas Tech, 3 straight turnovers, everything going the way of the Mountaineers right now.
No doubt about it. And this Texas Tech team, which has been so good all year, they're in a little bit of a schneid right now. There's that screen. Not much there, really. I'm not sure that was an offensive foul. You can't turn into the defender, but the defender was already falling after the legal screen.
West Beetle Bolden on the floor now for Bob Huggins' club. Mountaineers 6 for their last 6 from the field. 5 on the shot clock. Ahmad. The foul before the shot. And we have our first media timeout of the night. Senior night, an emotionally charged night, and so far, it's been the Mountaineers' night in Morgantown.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Joseph A. Bank, the new tradition since 1905. And in part by Heineken. Open your world. Enjoy responsibly.
Well, there's West Virginia's finest, Jerry West, outside one of the winningest Mountaineers of all time, and certainly on senior night it bears mentioning that Javon Carter and Daxter Miles have certainly been part of their fair share of Mountaineer victories.
Well, they came in at a time where West Virginia was struggling. Think back to Jawan State and Gary Brown to get it started. This guy, Daxter Miles, you see Javon lighting it up. Very emotional day today. We got a chance to spend a lot of time with these guys. And you can tell that they are going to miss this place, Javon Carter and Daxter Miles. This is a place that has embraced them over 4 years. And, you know, for all of us in the building, when you get a chance at the end of the year to watch senior days, you kind of feel a part of it because if you're in this league enough, you watch these guys grow up, Rich.
And what started out as what we thought could be a slow start, right? An air ball by Daxter Miles. All of a sudden, it's all engines go for West Virginia. Out to a 2-touchdown lead to start. Make that 2 touchdowns and a field goal. They counted that as a 2-7 for Carter.
And right now, if you're Texas Tech, especially with these young guys on the floor, they've got to keep their composure. It's been a really good season. This is like the 16th game of an NFL season when you're getting ready for the playoffs, because sitting those starters out, it's important that they're ready for Kansas City.
Ball nearly taken away by Moretti, the freshman backup guard who's probably going to see a lot of minutes tonight with Keenan Evans out tonight. He is dressed. There is a chance that he could see play, but we talked to Chris Beard before and he said he'd almost prefer not to play Evans tonight.
Well, if you're going to be down 16 and you're not in this game, it's probably going to be very wise that they keep both Evans and Zach Smith on the bench. Justin Gray, who suffered concussion, or at least concussion symptoms in the Kansas game 27 seconds in, he didn't even make the trip.
Those three combined, that's 37 points that they're missing tonight. And Logan Rout, who's just checked in, grabbed the rebound, but shuffled his feet in the process.
It's easy if you're a Texas Tech fan to get frustrated right now, but the big picture is Saturday against TCU at home, a tough but winnable game, and then obviously getting ready for next week in Kansas City.
And you talk about Kansas City, there are still some things at stake. And as a matter of fact, we talked to West Virginia, and they really want that #2 seed. Why is that?
Well, because then they'll play a team in that 8-9 game, I believe, that would have played the night before, and they have less time to get ready for the West Virginia pressure, as opposed to a team in the 3-6 matchup that'll have 5 days off before they play on Thursday. Chris Beard, on the other hand, he said he didn't really care.
Right. He just wants them to be healthy. It took nearly 6 minutes, but Texas Tech got its first points, and then West Virginia matches them with a 3 of their own.
I think we may have we have a foul on Beetle Bolden.
Foul was whistled on Beetle Bolden. His first, team's first. Checking in for Texas Tech, number 3.
They're going to count the 3-pointer, but call the foul on number 3 in gray, Beetle Bolden. And all that does is allow West Virginia to set up its full-court press, and a timeout call by Chris Beard. Well, the one word we heard from Texas Tech practice today was Chris Beard screaming the word space, space. Why was he reiterating that so much?
Well, when you have to guard, attack a press defense like this, you have to use 94 by 50 and get the defense spread out. And there was an example of too many people crowded along the baseline, and a young freshman Moretti could not throw the ball in.
Well, we mentioned Kansas City starting next week. It's going to be bananas there with as deep and talented as this league is. And what, if anything, really jumps out at you from the projected matchups if the season ended today?
Well, and there you see it. If West Virginia were to finish third, they would play, they already would know who they would play. They would play a team that would have 5 days to prepare for them. If they finish second, where Texas Tech is right now, and right now they're heading that way, then they would play a team that would play on Wednesday night, the night before the quarterfinals, and that would be a team that would be a little more fatigued and with really limited time to get ready for this press defense. On the other hand, Rich, I told you today, sometimes playing the opening round is an advantage because you get used to the environment.
Big 12 has that first round bye for the top 2 seeds. There are leagues like the SEC that have double byes. Then it could be real trouble.
And I think Texas Tech's going to battle back into this game before long.
Stevenson off the mark at close range. Then he saves it. Loose ball, who wants it? Odiasi on the floor, and the foul is going to go on Logan Routt.
West Virginia foul, holding number 31, Logan Routt. The Spurs, team foul number 2.
How'd you like to see a 6'9", 245-pounder diving on the floor?
Yeah, that's good hustle right there. Well, that's Stevenson with the hustle and keeping it in. And Moretti, the youngster, if he plays FIBA rules, a little bit different than the college rules, he should have let that ball go into the backcourt. It would have been a legal play, but they kept it in the front court. We had the scrum, and Texas Tech came up with the ball. Good pressure defense by West Virginia.
Josh Webster in, number 3 in red. And the hand check foul is going to go on Daxter Miles Jr. Well, coming up at 9 Eastern on ESPN tomorrow night, Super Tuesday, presented by Boost Mobile, featuring the number 9 North Carolina Tar Heels taking on Jim Laranaga's Miami Hurricanes. That's also available on the ESPN app. And of course, after that, UNC has to look forward to the monster rematch with the Duke Blue Devils. Sonic Blockbuster coming up Saturday night.
Unfortunately for Roy Williams, Carolina playing their best basketball of the season right now. Red hot, but they'll be challenged tomorrow night by the Hurricanes.
Webster, 3 in red, a 6'4" junior out of St. Louis. Not a lot of minutes in Big 12 play, but he's forced into action tonight. His first shot off the mark. Here comes Miles. Little shake and bake, and the floater goes for Daxter Miles Jr.
Well, Bob Huggins could not have scripted this start any better. Team is focused, they're playing solid D, and his 2 seniors are off to a very good start.
Miles starting his 117th game in a Mountaineer uniform. Stevenson, way off the mark, and West snares it for the Mountaineers. Miles, off the left iron, out of bounds. It'll be Texas Tech basketball, 12:38 to go.
Well, it's hard to put into perspective, but if you'd have told Chris Beard in October, you're going to be 22-7, ranked 12th in the country, and by the way, you're going to play West Virginia late in the year without 3 starters, he probably would have taken that. Especially, you know, the conversation we had with Chris Beard today is he thinks all 3 will be back ready for next week, although we didn't get the feeling that Keenan Evans will be completely 100%. He's got a toe injury that is not going to heal for quite a while, but they'll be at full strength when they head to Kansas City.
Well, Joe Lunardi has them projected in the 3 seed or 4 seed range. And Moretti knocks it down. They're going to be a tough out, whoever they face, just because defense carries so well and travels so well.
Well, and when you get in right now, you know, I think they're going to make a comeback in this game, but when you get embarrassed late in the year, and you've had as much pride as Texas Tech has had, they'll remember a game like this, especially when they get the 3 starters back. But right now, that's not Chris Beard's main concern.
10 on the shot clock for West Virginia. The ball's in Carter's hands. Now 5 to shoot. Miles going to have to force it up. Half expected that one to go on senior night. Here's Hamilton. He's been off the mark on his field goal attempts. It's out of bounds. 11:28 to go. Cue the Kenny Rogers music. Javon Carter and Daxter Miles Jr. through the years. Emotions running high here on senior night, but we'll have some fun with the two seniors. Fran Fraschilla is your game host for Mountaineer Match Game coming up.
Welcome to Mountaineer Match Game. These two guys, Daxter Miles and Javon Carter, have been together for 4 years. Let's see how well they know each other. All right, guys. Which roommate is more likely to sleep through an alarm? We got a match? We do. All right, very good. All right. Who has the better fashion sense? Okay. All right. Who has the more stylish facial hair? Javon's chin strap or Daxter's goatee? Okay. On the court, who's the better shooter? Okay, we got some disagreement. Who does Coach Huggins yell at more? All right, JC, give us your best Bob Huggins imitation.
Nah, I don't do that.
All right, what about you,
I don't do that.
That one? It's your last chance to take care of Coach Huggins. Nope. Okay. No, all right, that's fair. Who will shed more tears on senior night? We have a match. And these two guys, they've been special. Thanks.
And Fran, Alex Trebek and Pat Sajak are quaking in their boots right now, but all kidding aside, you can tell that those two grew up with each other here in Morgantown. They know each other better than they know themselves, and it has been a joy. You've been doing this for so long here in Morgantown. What a joy to see two kids who are so good on the court, but also such quality kids off the court as well.
Yes, and they met each other in an all-star game right here in Beckley, West Virginia, April of their senior year in high school. They were brought in, West Virginia fans want to get a peek of them, and they hung out together then, and they've pretty much been inseparable for 4 years. And when we talked, we had a question to ask them about who was the messier roommate. They wouldn't answer it because apparently they keep their room immaculate.
Tommy Hamilton at the line. Both their parents are here tonight. As a matter of fact, Leroy Carter and Daxter Miles Sr. sitting together right now, enjoying one last go-around inside WVU Coliseum. And when you talk to Bob Huggins about him, there they are, Daxter Miles Sr. on the left, Leroy Carter on the right. When you talk to Bob Huggins about those two, he said, the one thing that's interesting is the role reversal. Javon came in and wouldn't shut up, and now he's the silent one, and it was the reverse for Dax. Shot off the mark. And a fresh 30 from the freshman Teddy Allen.
That ball nicked the rim, so they did get the reset.
Carter. 9 points in the first 10 minutes for JC, Javon Carter.
Now this relentless pressure is still getting to Texas Tech. Again, they were out their primary ball handler and all-league first-team candidate, Player of the Year candidate, Keenan Evans.
Rich Hollenberg, Fran Fraschilla, senior night in Morgantown, and it's been all Mountaineers. Javon Carter has 9 points. The Texas Tech team only has 7. Hamilton, he hasn't found the range tonight. Culver. And a foul down below as Zaire Smith hits the deck.
Yep, Javon Carter has done about everything. And the defense, the shooting, the foul shooting, just the effort that he's given. Watch this little pump fake, gets the shot inside. He was offered one scholarship from inside the state of Illinois, where he grew up in the Chicago area, Illinois State. He had no power conference offers. His AAU coach, Dickie Simpkins, who was a former Chicago Bull, told the coaching staff at an AAU tournament in Orlando, Florida, I've got a kid that I think would fit Bob Huggins' style. And he visited in September. It's the only major offer he got. He accepted on the spot. And there's not a better player in recent years for Bob Huggins that exemplifies what West Virginia is about. Deshaun Butler, Kevin Jones, Javon Carter, they are cut out of the same cloth. Great players who played for Bob Huggins.
And you know what, Fran? He might not get a statue erected outside this building like Rod Hundley and Jerry West have, but he's going to end up going down as one of the all-time greats. He already owns the all-time steals record, and he's top 5 in three-pointers, assists, and maybe most importantly in wins.
Yeah, but the thing I've seen through the years with guys like this, when they come back 10 or 15 years later with their wife and kids, they come to a home basketball or football game, the love and affection from the fan base, and the memories of what this guy will have meant to this program, he'll really feel it then when he returns home, maybe after a pro career or a successful business career.
Here's Miles, off the mark. Moretti turns it over. Ahmad drew the foul. Stevenson hits the deck, he gets up, but it's another Texas Tech foul. And I know you're so dialed into where these young men came from, whether it's high school, AAU, what be it. Proviso East High School. Talk to us about that, because that's where his dad went to high school, and his dad, talking to him earlier, played with someone by the name of Glenn Doc Rivers.
Well, the surprising thing about Javon Carter was that he went to a program that might be one of the great high school basketball programs in the state of Illinois. You mentioned Doc Rivers. How about D. Brown, Shannon Brown? How about Michael Finley, who had a great career in the NBA? And yet, inside that program, he was not heavily recruited on the national scene. I think he was the 19th rated player in Illinois. So what it shows you, Rich, if you match a young man and his ability and his character with the right kind of program, a program that values work ethic, he can be successful. And he is to Bob Huggins. He's meant to Bob Huggins what Bob Huggins is meant to him.
Miles got the steal, but they couldn't convert it. Javon Carter, the 5th player ever and the first Big 12 player, 1,500 points, 500 rebounds, 500 assists, and 300 steals.
Bob Huggins said the most remarkable thing was the 500 rebounds from a guy 6'2". That shows you the kind of toughness that he's brought to this program.
Ten on the shot clock. 5 to shoot. Nice feed. Ahmad got fouled. Issa Ahmad will go to the line when we come back with 7:48 to go. It's been all Mountaineers on senior night in Morgantown.
Do you believe in second chances?
Walker, cardiac
Well, here is the new beginning.
knocked out the shot clock. Are you serious?
Champ Week, presented by Prism on ESPN.
Well, if you are a college basketball fan, this is your favorite next 4 weeks coming up, because it's Champ Week on ESPN, Selection Sunday, and Chris Beard and the Texas Tech Red Raiders are going to be watching very carefully. Right now, Joe Lenardi, our resident bracketologist, has them as a 4 seed, which would be monumental for a program that really hasn't had much to talk about in postseason play in recent years. And of course, West Virginia's had their fair share of success, a couple of Final Fours for that man right there, Bob Huggins. But Chris Beard, what a job he's done in just 2 short seasons, taking over a program that he has such an affinity for, such a closeness for, coming over as an assistant coach for 10 years under Bob Knight and Pat Knight, and now he's ushered in a brand new era of Red Raider basketball.
He's brought a really good culture to the South Plains. And of course, he was part of a good run by Coach Knight. But watching practice, watching the kids interact, he's really got these guys dialed in. Tonight's an aberration because they've got 3 starters out. But we've watched enough to know that this program not only is heading in the right direction. Today they picked up a commitment from a top 40 player, Kayvon Moore from the state of Georgia. I watched him play as a sophomore at the Under Armour All-American camp. A major get for them. When you combine him with these two terrific freshmen, Smith and Culver, the program is in good shape.
He is a humble man, an extremely grateful man. He's a real proud father, isn't he?
You know, he really is. His daughter, how about this? His daughter Avery is going to go to Columbia University next year. That is, he is really proud. Fortunately, his salary has gone up since he coached at, as an assistant coach at Texas Tech. Avery, Ella, and Margot, very proud dad of 3 lovely daughters. I didn't think Chris Beard was smart enough to have a daughter go to an Ivy League school, but kudos to him. He's a Texas grad, so he's a pretty bright guy.
You'll be able to share some more stories having a son or a daughter going to an Ivy League school.
Cry about writing out that tuition check. I know them. Kind of like senior night here with Miles and Carter.
That's right. A lot of Kleenex in the house. Naeem Stevenson has provided almost all the offense for Texas Tech, number 10 in red. 3 on the shot clock. Culver, yes, with a hand in his face.
Jared Culver is going to be a terrific player. He and Smith have been shell-shocked early without the veterans, but starting to pick it up and making this a little bit more of a game. They are not going to go away, and we know that West Virginia this year has had a propensity for losing big leads.
Well, even when it was a 20-point lead earlier tonight, you said this game's going to be close, and right now, just 10 points. Texas Tech in the midst of a 7-0 run.
Yeah, this young man, Jared Culver, grew up in Lubbock, so he wasn't well known on the national scene. But look at that body and that deep range. Zaire Smith out of Dallas, Jared Culver out of Lubbock, Texas. They have got 2 young freshmen that are 2 of the best freshmen in this league.
That 3-pointer's good from the corner for Dax Miles, who has 8.
And that's really important going forward because Dax Miles, for all the things he does, was shooting under 30% from 3. And this West Virginia team is going to have to score points to go far in both tournaments.
There's Culver, back-to-back buckets for the freshman. He has 7. It's an 11-point game.
You know, we were watching, I saw these guys in November, Rich, Smith and Culver. They blew me away as freshmen. And they're starting to make some of these mock drafts. That's a little premature, but both of these young guys have great basketball futures.
There's Smith on the ball, number 2 in red. With 5 on the shot clock. Miles again. He has 3 3-pointers tonight. He had 35 coming in all season.
Yeah, no doubt, because the struggles for West Virginia when they have them have been on the offensive end, and for Miles to pick it up late in the year would be extremely important. Look at this guy. That one's off.
This fellow freshman gets the offensive rebound. And the foul going to be on number 15, Lamont West. How about senior night being for seniors? 20 points combined between Carter and Miles.
Yeah, Dexter Miles, you see the effort from the corner, both the corner, then the top of the key. Young man out of Baltimore, won a state title at the famed Dunbar High School. He's a former poet. School that produced Muggsy Bogues and Reggie Williams. One of the best teams in the country back in the 80s, great tradition. This young man at the line, to me, is the best athlete in the Big 12. Zaire Smith out of Dallas, another one of those under-the-radar recruits. Texas Tech was in on him because Zaire Smith's high school coach was a former assistant coach to Chris Beard on the junior college level.
Smith had 9 points, 8 rebounds last time these two teams played, which is a court-storming win in Lubbock against the Mountaineers back on January 13th. And this part of your all-freshman squad.
All these guys have had terrific years. Of course, Trey Young and Mo Bamba, everybody knows about them. Lindell Wigginton, another one of those Canadians that has so much success up in Ames. Steve Prohm struggling with some injuries. They'll be a year better next year. Great recruiting class coming in for the Cyclones.
Culver, the weak side rebound.
Really important 4 minutes for Texas Tech with these guys on the floor.
Well, he's their best scorer with Keenan Evans not on the floor.
Well, there's the talent you've seen. I mean, he looks like an NBA 2 guard, but he's certainly a few years away from that, but you just love everything about his long-term potential.
Back to a 10-point game. 3:40 to go in the first half.
Little matchup zone right now. Trying to trick West Virginia a little bit.
There's Carter with 8 on the shot clock. We have another media timeout on the floor. Texas Tech hanging tough in Morgantown. A battle of top 20 teams in the Big 12.
Well, he lost 18 in a row, Seth, at Oral Roberts. That wasn't a great coaching job, but I think he is the coach of the year in the Big 12. The answer to your question at Kansas is absolutely yes. It's amazing, Rich, what he has accomplished this year. And I remember 2 years ago when they were trying to figure out how to play small ball. We were at practice in October, and I think Seth was there. And we asked Bill, how are you going to play? What kind of offense? He goes, I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. And they have figured out how to play small. Next year, they're going to go back to playing bully ball with great size. So, yeah, an amazing coaching job. And I think Devontae Graham is going to be the Big 12 Player of the Year. Absolutely a winner.
Ready for 3.
Solid. He's a good player. He played professionally last year in the Italian second division. A lot of good former American college players. He didn't get paid, so he maintained his amateur status, but he's had bits of really good play this year. He just doesn't get a lot of playing time because of the veteran backcourt.
A 16-6 Texas Tech run. They're 9 for their last 13 from the field. What have you seen from them that's impressed you in this comeback?
Well, you just know, like we mentioned culture. Look at this. We mentioned culture and the fact that Chris Beard is building a winning program. And so when they got down 27-7, I would have been really surprised if they did not respond.
Respond they did. Here's another strong drive from Culver, blocked at the rim by Rout.
And you see the left arm on the shoulder. And this kid is a good athlete, but he is not the best athlete in the family. Jared Culver's brother, Trey, just won for the 3rd straight time the Big 12 Indoor High Jump Championship. Now he'll try to be 3-time NCAA champion in 2 weeks with a high, you ready for this? 7.7 3/4, the 4th best high jump in NCAA history. So this guy's a good athlete, maybe a better basketball player than his older brother, but not the best athlete in the family, I don't think.
So I guess what you're saying is, in basketball parlance, Trey Culver can jump over Taco Fall if he needed to.
Yes, he jumps, that's right. Taco's 7'6".
Heady times for Texas Tech athletics. Track team #1 in the nation. Baseball #3 in the country. National championships in track and field going to be held in a couple weeks in College Station.
The other thing Texas Tech has done the last 8 or 9 minutes is quiet this crowd that was on its feet for Senior Day just about 55 minutes ago.
Beetle Bolden at the line, 1-1, hits the first. Bolden been a great compliment this season in the backcourt with Miles and Carter, who we've talked so much about.
63 threes. He's a 3rd-year sophomore because he tore his knee as a freshman here. And the injury allowed him to get bigger, stronger, more physically mature.
Look at this, the freshman Culver coming up against that pressure from West Virginia. And he turns it over, stolen away by Carter. How many times have we seen that, Frank?
I wonder who got the steal, Bolden or Carter.
And it's back-to-back turnovers caused by West Virginia.
Checking in for the Red Raiders, number 0, Tommy Hamilton.
That's the 8th Texas Tech turnover.
Yeah, no, it was Carter. Should have known. Venus flytrap for hands.
Well, you say he has the fastest hands in America.
I'd be shocked if anybody in the power conferences has any quicker hand reaction, eye-hand coordination.
His hands are strong, too. Evidenced on that last play.
That was like a team of pickpockets in Times Square. Bolden set it up, and Carter got the wallet and the watch and the cell phone.
1:29 to go. 10-point lead for West Virginia. They led by 20 at one point. Texas Tech's done a good job to chip away and get back in this contest.
Chris Beard would be very happy with a single-digit deficit going into the half. From a psychological standpoint, mainly.
Ten to shoot. Bolden does. Hits it.
You cannot do that. If you're Davide Moretti, you do not leave and gamble when your man is Beetle Bolden. He's too good a shooter.
Culver working on Bender. And Jared Culver seemingly can get to the hoop at will.
Well,
Magic Bender called for the first goal for Spurs.
Well, next Wednesday on the NBA doubleheader, it's going to feature Steph and the Warriors against Bradley Beal and the Wizards at 8 Eastern. Followed at 10:30 as James Harden and the Rockets square off against the Clippers. Coverage tips with NBA Countdown at 7.
Clippers will be playing the Rockets, and a guy that Javon Carter reminds me of, Patrick Beverly.
Oh, yeah.
If Javon Carter is to play in the NBA, and a lot of teams like him, then Patrick Beverly would be a great comp. Outstanding on-ball defender, good open three-point shooter, great attitude, will make practice better. Right now projected to go somewhere in the second round. And if you told Javon Carter if he would walk from Morgantown to LA, and once you got there, we would put you on the Clipper roster, he would do it, and he'd probably do it barefoot. That's how badly he'd like to play in the NBA.
So far, it's been a night to remember, Fran, for Javon Carter. 11 points and an emotional start. He wasn't affected negatively by all these feels.
No, quick start for both he and Miles and this whole team, but very emotional. They said they would tear up. They did. And then they got off to a flying start in this game, stretching that lead out to 27-7. And both of these guys are not only going to be missed, but it reminds me of what Frank Mason said last year at Senior Day. If I could come back here for 4 more years, I would do it in a heartbeat. And you know Javon Carter feels the same way.
5 for 7 from the field. He and his classmate, of course, we're talking about Daxter Miles Jr. and Javon Carter, the top scoring classmates here at West Virginia since Kevin Jones and Truck Bryant. And those guys know about winning as well. Under a minute to go, 13-point West Virginia lead. Teddy Allen split the defense and got fouled in the paint.
And Chris Beard threw a little trap at half court. Teddy Allen squeezed his way out of it. And if this guy stays on the right track, he'll be a very prolific scorer. There you see Tommy Hamilton, but Teddy Allen opened up his Big 12 career. First 3 games, he was averaging 19 a game. Got into the Bob Huggins doghouse, which is not unusual for a young player. And has been working his way out of it ever since. But we've watched him put points on the board quickly.
0 for 2 from the line for Allen, normally reliable from the free throw line, 75% this season. About a 3-second differential between shot clock and game clock here in the first half. Freshman Culver surveying with 10 on the shot clock. Inside, nice feed. Hamilton can't pay it off. Ball goes out of bounds and clock stops with 5.3 left. And the officials say it's going to stay Red Raiders basketball.
Yeah, that ball might have gone off Hamilton, but the official on the baseline did not have a great angle. He was looking for help. Now, they can't review this, but they may be looking at the clock. Can't review whether the ball went out of either player.
That's Mike Stevens at the scorer's table. Let's take a look at what they're looking at.
Well, Hamilton blew an easy layup. He'd like to have that back. What's that ball? Hard to tell right there. I thought Hamilton hit it last. Yep, that's okay.
6.5 seconds left on the clock.
Mike Stevens checking the clock. 6.5. Very good officiating crew. These guys have worked in big games, including the Final Four.
So they had a little bit of time left, 6.5 left. And now we have an out of timeout situation, essentially, because Chris Beard got to talk to his troops. And we saw them working on things like this in practice.
Little things, yep. Very well prepared. Let's see if they execute. Oh, that's a foul. Ooh.
Hamilton. Here's Moretti,
not
2
gonna get it off.
seconds. Left his hand in time, but it missed it close range. And what was a 20-point lead for West Virginia has been cut to 13 by Texas Tech on senior night in Morgantown. Dexter Miles Jr. and Javon Carter leading the way for the Mountaineers, who lead at 42 or 42-29. Coming up after the break, Ravitch, Greenberg, and Williams in the studio, the Land Rover halftime report.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball.
Welcome back to Big Monday, presented by Joseph A. Bank. It's senior night in Morgantown, and those are the two young men being honored. Javon Carter in the foreground, Dexter Miles Jr. next to him, number 4 in gray. And these two, almost like kissing the bricks at the Indy 500, except they're kissing half court inside WVU Coliseum, and that's where we are to get ready for the second half alongside Fran Fraschilla, Rich Hollenberg here. And it started out as a Press Virginia blitz, 21-3, led by Carter and Miles. They have 22 points combined so far, and they've been sensational on a night that it's all theirs to shine.
Yep, you always worry how seniors are going to react in their final home game. The emotion can take over sometimes, but these guys who go back to their freshman year have been roommates ever since, thick as thieves. Boy, they got off to a great start. 22 of the 42 points, as you mentioned, Rich, and no emotional letdown, let's put it that way. Great start for these two seniors.
They were 9 for 15 from the field combined, and even Dexter Miles, who struggled this season from beyond the arc, hit a couple of threes.
And that bodes well for West Virginia's postseason chances if Dax can add the shooting to all the other intangibles he brings to this team.
And it was a 20-point lead at one point for the West Virginia Mountaineers, but then a freshman shall lead them. We're talking about Texas Tech and Jared Culver. He had 10 points. Neem Stevenson had 10 points as well. And all of a sudden, we have ourselves a ball game here in Morgantown.
And a little closer, and we did not expect Texas Tech to go away. Now their next goal is to get it under 10. And I mentioned it earlier, Rich, West Virginia has lost some big leads this season.
One thing to keep an eye on, Stevenson with 10 points in the first half also has 3 fouls, and he starts the second half for Chris Beard and a foul on the opening possession.
What you like about that play is that they ran a play to get Zaire Smith going. One of those two outstanding freshmen we've highlighted.
Smith had 4 points in the first half, all coming from the free throw line, and that's where he finds himself to start the second half.
We mentioned he was somewhat unheralded out of Dallas. Lakeview Centennial. His dad, Billy Ray, played for those great Midland junior college teams back in the 80s with a guy named Mookie Blaylock, and then played at Kansas State for Lon Kruger. And his 5th year at Kansas State played football for Bill Snyder, was a very good special teams player. In fact, this Texas Tech team has athleticism in its DNA all up and down the roster.
Absolutely. There's Smith guarding Wesley Harris. Kanate. And a foul as Kanate enters the painted area. And if that's on Stevenson, that's going to be number 4.
Texas Tech foul call number 10.
And that's big trouble for Chris Beard.
Well, big enough that without 3 starters playing tonight, the 4th starter of the 5 that's had such a terrific year for the Red Raiders just picked up number 4. So we're going to see those 3 freshmen on the floor. Again, we saw a lot of that in the first half.
Moretti on the floor, almost got the steal from Miles. Here's Carter. In and out. Culver, 10 points in the first half, and he starts off well in the second.
What I liked about him in the first half is without Evans, without Gray, he decided it was going to be on his shoulders to take over the offense, and you see some of that brilliance we keep talking about.
Nice feed from Carter inside to Kanate. That's the 4th assist for Javon Carter tonight.
Texas Tech's got to move the ball. They got to get Moretti off the ball and make the extra pass, just like that.
Brandon Francis, his first bucket of the night. Back-to-back threes for the Red Raiders.
Remember, Francis was a high school All-American. He originally signed with Billy Donovan in Florida. Academic casualty his first year, stayed a second year, and then transferred.
Vermont West answers with a 3 of his own.
Texas Tech's got some talent on the floor, although it's young.
Inside, Smith. Head and shoulder fake got Harris up in the air and committed the foul.
I like this. This is, I might have mentioned it earlier, this is like week 17 in the NFL. Remember how the Eagles struggled those last couple of games in the regular season? People counted them out. They weren't even favorites, right, in any of their playoff games. This group right now on the floor is getting meaningful experience. And when they add the 3 starters back, either maybe Saturday, certainly next week in Kansas City, this will be a formidable group because they know how to win.
They are a much better team. It goes without saying when Keaton Evans is on the floor. He was in the discussion for Big 12 Player of the Year and certainly a first-team All-Big 12 performer. He's dressed but not playing so far.
Well, he still is in the discussion because they haven't made a decision yet. But the other thing that you need to know is the NCAA basketball committee will take into account these last 4 games, going back to the second half of the Baylor game. They'll be pretty keen as to why Texas Tech struggled at the end of the season.
Bolden from the corner.
Now, Moretti's got to know that he can give Bolden no airspace. Second time tonight, he's given Bolden room to get that shot off. Can't do that. Too good a shooter.
Bolden leads this team in 3-point shooting.
That's too much dribbling by Moretti. This offense is predicated on ball movement side to side.
10 on the shot clock. And Kanate almost picked Webster's pocket, and he's called for the foul.
When you're guarding Beetle Bolden, you've got to chase him off the 3-point line and make him drive it, and preferably drive it right. But watch how much airspace he gets. Too late. You got to know that. You got to be right up on the catch and then force him to drive it.
That was the 3rd foul on Kanate. And he still makes a monster block at the rim. And it'll be West Virginia basketball. Add that to the highlight reel for Sags Konate.
Has Jared Culver not been paying attention? And he's got a huge smile on his face, Culver. I like the challenge. This is what you do to a shot blocker. But Konate, when he gets inside the restricted arc, is so good at staying vertical. And you notice the left hand, he blocks shots with the inside hand closest to the rim, and that keeps his body off the driver.
Konate, third in the nation in blocks. He takes a seat on the bench. We've got a foul away from the ball.
I want you to watch this, Rich. Watch his inside hand, the left hand. It's going to allow him to stay away from the body, and he comes over. If he uses the right hand, he turns his shoulder into the driver and would almost assuredly pick up a foul. And when we talked to the coaching staff earlier in the year about the drills they do to teach his shot blocking, they said, we do nothing. It's all instinct, and we're not going to mess with it.
Bolden got a steal and a foul on Texas Tech.
Texas Tech foul, foul number 3, Josh Webster. His first, team foul number 2.
So Beetle Bolden making his presence felt on both ends of the floor in the second half. 6 steals already for West Virginia. Two teams tied for second place in the Big 12. Both teams coming in 10-6 in conference play. Both would love to get that number 2 seed in the Big 12 tournament coming up in Kansas City. That's the third foul on Moretti.
And that time he chased Bolden so far on that run, he thought that Odiasi was going to stay and help. When Odiasi left, there was room to shoot it, and Moretti fouled. He's getting an education tonight.
Here's Bolden. He's now 11 for his last 11 from the free throw line. 85% on the season for the sophomore out of Covington, Kentucky. See Kansas, they're facing Texas right now without Mo Bamba.
Substitution. Checking in
So much for 11 out of 11.
Do you believe in the broadcaster jinx?
No,
I don't.
not at all. You kidding?
Yeah, you let me off the hook, then. Thank you.
Broadcaster jinx works 30% of the time because the average foul shooter in college basketball shoots 70%. So it's going to work sometimes.
Francis, nice lead. Good two-man game on the offensive end with Hamilton getting his first field goal.
Tommy Hamilton, the son of Tommy Hamilton III, who played at DePaul and then into the NBA.
Part of that Red Raider athletic DNA story you were talking about. And one and done for West Virginia, but an errant pass thrown by Culver. Here's Ahmad. Missed at close range, but the foul is called. We have a timeout on the floor. Texas Tech trying to hang in it. West Virginia up a dozen on senior night in Morgantown.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball.
Two shades of blue collide in a Sonic blockbuster rematch. UNC Duke, Saturday at 8:15 on ESPN.
Always look forward to that, the greatest rivalry in college basketball, if not sports, and only about, what, close to 2,000 wins on the court between Roy Williams and Mike Krzyzewski, Hall of Fame coaches in their own right. And we feel like we have a Hall of Fame coach in our midst in Bob Huggins. What say you about that?
Well, someday he will be in. He was nominated earlier this year. They've narrowed the field. None of the active coaches, well, let me put it this way. Every active coach that's in the Hall of Fame at the moment has won a national championship. Obviously, Bob Huggins hasn't done that yet, but there's no doubt in my mind he will be in. Now, here's the other question. I am not in favor of active coaches being in the Hall of Fame or voted in while they are still coaching. It makes no sense to me. Baseball, football, you wait until a coach or player is retired. And one of the reasons is who knows how their career is going to end up. A perfect example is Rick Pitino, who is in the Hall of Fame, but, you know, it's been discovered that he's had major violations. You know, Jim Boeheim, Jim Calhoun, when he was coaching, they were part of NCAA investigations. It's my feeling, and they all deserve to be in. It's my feeling is you do not get in until your coaching career is over, and then we can evaluate the whole body of work.
Now, the flip side of that is Bill Self got in last year, and he told you what about that?
Well,
experience?
he agreed with me about the idea that current coaches should not be in, but he did say the ancillary benefit of his induction was his father, who was a huge influence on him, his high school coach, got to see him go in the hall, and that was pretty cool. And I like that, except that's not the main reason to put somebody in the Hall of Fame.
Coming up on 5 minutes gone by in the second half. Zaire Smith off the mark. Issa Ahmad the rebound. There was a 13-point lead at half. That's where we stand now with 5 minutes gone by in the second. Holden, tough shot. Ahmad can't get the follow to go. And then it's blocked from behind and out of bounds. It'll stay West Virginia basketball.
Remember, Issa Ahmad is a guy that did not become eligible until January 13th. He's a 2-year starter, and he's played really well lately. And one thing I like about Issa Ahmad, he started to improve his outside shot. And this West Virginia team, in my opinion, will only go as far as how good their offense is in the NCAA tournament. The defense will travel, but when you get deeper and deeper into the tournament, you must be able to outscore some of those teams you play.
Ahmad had 18 and 11 last time, had his second double-double. Also had 18 the last time these two teams played. That shot well off the mark, and here comes Moretti for the Red Raiders.
To me, Moretti's got to move the ball more. He's given the ball a headache. His offense is predicated on ball movement.
10 on the shot clock. Inside, Smith, stripped from behind by Bolden, who comes away with it for West Virginia.
There was a time a couple years ago where Bob Huggins was concerned that Beetle Bolden would be strong enough to play defense. That is slowly changing over the course of his career. And remember, he's got 26 charges, which unofficially leads the Big 12.
7 to shoot. Ball's in Carter's hands. Now 3 on the clock. Harris forces it up, and it's off the mark. And Odiasi comes away with it. Some rough play underneath. And that foul's going to go on West Virginia and Wesley Harris.
Well, we had a little hand-to-hand combat away from the ball. The whistle didn't blow, and then they got the next set of extracurriculars.
Brandon Franklin checks back in for Texas Tech.
Jared Culver will inbounds. 13:23 to go. And now Sags Kanate checking back in, as will Daxter Miles Jr. for Bob Huggins and Lamont West as well. So now both seniors on the floor for Hugs.
I really like this kid, Zaire Smith. He is not afraid to take his body to the paint. He'll dunk on you if he gets room, but he doesn't mind contact and physical play. You know, when I watch him, he reminds me of John Starks. Remember John Starks? He played for the Knicks. John had a similar toughness, and of course, John had one of the all-time great dunks in Madison Square Garden.
Against the Bulls.
And we haven't seen this young man's leaping ability, but he has similar type hops. But I just like his toughness and his poise for a freshman. Remember, on a veteran team, the second and third leading scorers are freshmen for the Red Raiders.
Yeah. And those two freshmen, Smith And Culver trying to spoil senior night for the West Virginia Mountaineer faithful. Right now, still a 12-point game, 13:03 to go. And Daxter Miles, number 4 in gray, still on the floor, saddled with 3 fouls. The freshman Culver leading the way for the Red Raiders with 13 points. Both teams looking for a win number 11 in conference play. Inside, Konate, yes.
He's gotten so good at that. Everybody in the arena knows he's going over that left shoulder, but he's so accurate. And he not only can make it off straight up, but he uses the backboard really well. Kudos to Eric Martin, assistant coach. One of those former Bearcats, played on Bob Huggins' first Final Four team.
Here's Moretti from the wing. Too strong. Offensive rebound to Odiasi. Culver, strong take off the window and no whistle. Jared Culver has 15.
He wasn't afraid of Konate that time. Konate thought he drew the charge. But you like the moxie by the freshman, not afraid.
Ahmad. And Ahmad picks up the trash. Moretti, good shot fake. But he can't pay it off. It's too strong. Here comes Carter. And you talk about a veteran savvy move by Javon Carter. A 14-point lead for West Virginia. Javon Carter will be shooting free throws when we come back. Seth, we don't need Mark Jackson. We got Fran Fraschilla here. FIBA basketball.
There's Fraschillas everywhere in FIBA basketball.
How about Javon Carter through the years? That reminds me of the Notorious B.I.G. album cover right there. Eating some graham crackers, playing some rec league basketball out in Maywood, Illinois. Signed his letter of intent to play at West Virginia, and these 4 years have been magical for Javon Carter and a love affair with the Mountaineer Maniacs.
He couldn't have found a better coach in terms of fit for his toughness, competitiveness, character on and off the court. You know, one thing we haven't mentioned, he's been all Big 12 first team academic for a while. So he's getting it done both on and off the court. By the way, Bob Huggins has graduated 39 of his last 40 seniors at West Virginia. How about that? In a day and age where guys are tossing out 100 grand and wheeling and dealing with agents and financial advisors.
One thing we feel very confident of, we don't have to worry about either of these programs, either of these coaches having to be discussed in that discussion. But I know that's something that is very sensitive to you.
Well, you never know. You never know. But I will say this. Bob Huggins told his athletic director earlier in the year, he said, you need to fire me because I've got bad players and recruiting bad players, but you need to give me a big raise because I'm winning with these guys. The only guy on the roster that I think was a top 100 player is the guy shooting the free throw, Issa Ahmad. Everybody else is somewhat unsung, under-recruited. But in order to play for a guy who's going to drive you every day, you got to know what you're buying into.
Ahmad's now in double figures. He's the 5th Mountaineer to reach 10 or more points tonight. And that's in keeping with this West Virginia offense. They have 5 guys who average 10 or more points a game, and Beetle Bolden right near there with 9.5 a game. The lead's up to 16, 59-43.
Little zone by West Virginia right now. Change up. West Virginia will play about 20% zone over the course of the season.
Webster leads it for Smith, who throws it down with one hand. Believe it or not, Fran, that's the first field goal of the game for Zaire Smith.
A lot of free throws.
Carter, the rare turnover from the senior.
We've been talking about this electric athleticism of the freshman Zaire Smith. Here's a good example right here. We know he does not mind mixing it up inside. He started to appear on some mock draft boards. He's definitely not ready for that.
Stevenson back in the game and immediately makes an impact with a triple.
Although Stevenson's been in foul trouble, Rich, he's been an aggressive offensive player tonight.
Third three for Stevenson. And just like that, an 11-point game. Konate at close range. He's got a dozen. Halfway through the second half, West Virginia has led throughout. There's another block by Sags Konate.
Inside hand, the right hand. This is all instinct, folks. He does not work on this. There's the drive. Now the hand closer to the rim is his right hand. And you see how that keeps his body away from the offensive player.
And you like big round numbers, Fran? That is block number 100 on the season for Sagaba Konate.
How did you know I like big round numbers? How did you know that?
I just know that I'm not very good at math, so the rounder the number, the better for me. But how about 9 games with 5 or more blocks this year for Sags Konate? Only Jeff Withey has more games with 5 or more blocks this decade.
Former Jayhawk, still in the NBA.
Odiasi off the mark on the free throw. Well, you talk so much about Javon Carter's defensive prowess. On the back line, they're pretty strong too.
Yeah, no question. And a year from now, this kid's going to even be better because he's getting better and better offensively. Very competitive. He's got a little bit of a temper, which is a good thing as long as it's managed well. Of course, he's got a family of brothers that have played a lot of college basketball.
You think he'll get at least some consideration for Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year?
You know, it's going to be him and Carter, maybe Mo Bamba, but I'd give it to Javon Carter because I'm sentimental for seniors. But he does in the air what Javon Carter does on the ground in terms of blocks and steals.
Carter scoreless in the second half, along with his senior backcourt mate Daxter Miles. They had 22 combined in the first half. Odiasi way off the mark. And a jump ball, and it's going to be possession to West Virginia. Coming up tomorrow, Super Tuesday on ESPN, presented by Boost Mobile, featuring number 9 North Carolina against Miami. You can also check out that game on the ESPN app. Saw North Carolina earlier this season beat Duke in Chapel Hill. Now they're going to have to go to Cameron on Saturday night for the rematch.
But Duke lost tonight.
Yeah.
Tonight to Virginia Tech, and Carolina, no easy game tomorrow. If you want to watch an exciting young player tomorrow night, Lonnie Walker for the Hurricanes out of Reading, Pennsylvania. He's really starting to come on, a tremendous athlete. He reminds me of Zaire Smith in terms of the way they play. Lonnie was highly recruited. Zaire, not so much, but both have had an impact this season for their teams.
Carter almost trapped in the corner. 7 on the shot clock. And a foul on the floor with 5 on the shot clock.
Texas Tech foul called number 21, Malik Andigo. Spurs, team foul number 8. Stevenson checked back in for Texas Tech.
Chris Beard has his team battling on a night where they easily could have packed it in. 3 starters down, Keenan Evans being one of them.
He was concerned about Keenan Evans, Rich, when he talked to us. He does not think Keenan Evans will be 100% next week. It's an injury that will not heal until after he's done with the season. But when you think about the fact, and I mentioned this earlier, you know, you're watching this Red Raider team, they're going to add 3 seniors to this mix, all who have won a lot of games in 4 years. There you see Zach Smith on the left, Keenan Evans on the right. And Justin Gray at home in concussion protocol. They don't think it's serious. Hopefully he'll be back soon.
Miles 2 for 2 from the line. The first 2 points for the senior backcourt from West Virginia this half. Tough shot from Smith. Out to Stevenson for 3. Too strong, and the weak side rebound goes to Javon Carter. Carter with 11 points, 7 assists, and now 3 rebounds tonight. Miles lines it up and knocks it down.
That's 4, right?
Yep, 4th triple tonight.
A little more zone right here. Looks like the 1-3-1. Now they switch it over back to man, change it up.
We have our under 8 timeout. 66-48, West Virginia trying to pull away, led by their seniors, Dexter Miles, with 16. Saturday, 8:15 Eastern on ESPN. It's part 2 of college basketball's greatest rivalry and a Sonic blockbuster. Number 9 North Carolina going to Cameron Indoor to take on number 5 Duke, also available on the ESPN app. Rich Hollenberg, Fran Fraschilla from Morgantown, West Virginia. And that game, Fran, will feature 2 stars for respective teams who got to that stardom in very different ways.
Exactly. Marvin Bagley's been on the national scene in terms of high school players for a while. And Luke May, young man from the Charlotte area, which his dad Mark was a very good quarterback at North Carolina. He was a preferred walk-on at North Carolina. He was recruited by Davidson, Clemson, full scholarship offers. Wanted to be a Carolina Tar Heel. Roy Williams said, if you come, as soon as we have an opening, we'll give you a scholarship. And his brother Cole, it's an athletic family. He played in the Baseball World Series last year for the Florida Gators.
It's going to be an angry Duke team.
Absolutely.
After a loss tonight at Virginia Tech, we have a timeout on the floor. Be back right after this.
West Virginia partners, Rick Street Insurance, Northeast National.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Joseph A. Bank, the new tradition since 1905. And in part by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Liberty stands with you.
It's been an emotional and an entertaining senior night here in Morgantown for Javon Carter. Let's take a look at our Wendy's Wooden Watch. And Javon is one of the 20 late season finalists for that exclusive award. And wouldn't you know that you have to go all the way back nearly 25 years to find a guard who's put up numbers similar to Javon Carter's.
That's a heck of a compliment to Javon Carter when you think about the great career Jason Kidd had not only at Cal, but in the NBA as well. And the difference, again, much like Luke May and Marvin Bagley we talked about, Jason Kidd highly thought of coming out of high school, out of Oakland, and Javon Carter was just an afterthought.
You can join the conversation and vote for your favorite players at hashtag Wooden Watch.
Did you know Javon Carter was also a very good baseball player?
I did not know that.
In fact, had he been offered a baseball scholarship first, he would have taken that scholarship, and Kent State, their baseball program, offered him shortly after West Virginia did in basketball, and the rest is history.
Nice feed from Ahmad inside to Machi Bender.
Bender, the sophomore from Poland, who spent his high school days here in the state of West Virginia. This is a young West Virginia team. You know, we keep talking about the 2 seniors, but 7 sophomores and a freshman in the rotation.
Stevenson, the step back.
Tough shot.
Basket by Stevenson.
Now, they'll miss these 2 guards, but they should be very good next year. We've got an excellent freshman point guard who's sitting out this season, Brandon Napper, who's been practicing with the team in the late season.
Seven to shoot. Miles with the ball. Short, contested shot from Culver. and ripped out of midair by the man of steel himself. And a chance at a three-point play. First points of the second half for Javon Carter, and they come in Javon Carter fashion.
And you sense that scoring in the second half with this double-digit lead hasn't really necessarily been at the front of his mind. But he's not going to turn down the opportunity to get some buckets. There's that steal. Jarrett Culver could make that pass at Coronado High School in the Lubbock City school system, but not on this court, not tonight. He'll learn, already has.
14 points for Carter. That's his third steal of the night. Averages about that every game for Bob Huggins. Stevenson. Culver with the foul.
Good effort. He knows how to score, Jarrett Culver.
19 now for Culver. His season high is 25. Miles. 5 on the shot clock. And the rebound goes to Culver. Both teams tied for second coming in the Big 12 tonight. Big throwdown from Zaire Smith. Gives him a dozen.
And these freshmen are battling. And when you look at the Big 12, Rich, if you're a Red Raider fan, you're thinking, man, we may lose 4 in a row. But keep in mind, in the course of a long season, everybody in this league at some point has faced adversity, whether it be injuries, tough losses. And tonight, I know we keep mentioning the 3 starters out, but so this is just a silver lining that Chris Beard's getting a chance to play all these young players like Smith, Culver, and Moretti.
Well, to your point, you remember West Virginia not that long ago lost 6 out of 9 games, and now they turned it around. They've won 3 of their last 4, and they're looking at 4 out of their last 5 tonight.
Same thing with Baylor, right? They were hung on, what, 2 and 6? Oklahoma's been through a tough schneid.
Stevenson rattles home another 3. No quit in the Red Raiders. It's 4:43 to go. Miles, strong take in the paint, and Dexter Miles will go back to the line. It's a good look at the 2 teammates for the last 4 years. They really, in a lot of ways, ushered in that Press Virginia era for Bob Huggins.
Well, they did, but you also got to go back and give guys like Gary Brown and Juwan Staten, I mentioned the junior college players. In fact, the difference between this team and those early teams was Bob Huggins had 6 guards he could run out there, and that's why you don't see the full court pressure that we saw those early years in Press Virginia. They just don't have the depth to be able to do that. Not when you have a couple guys playing 35+ minutes.
You know what's interesting? You talked earlier about how you think Bill Self is the Big 12 Coach of the Year, and what a tremendous job he did pivoting his style of play this season. Bob Huggins did that 4 years ago.
Without a doubt, and it's like it's chameleon-like, and a lot of coaches have a style and a system that they cannot change, and the great coaches figure out what you need to do with the players you can get and how to win that way. And to your point, Bob Huggins' team is back to a way they played when he first started coaching at Walsh College and Akron University.
Stevenson, another bucket. He has 20. That's a season high for Naeem Stevenson.
And that was Chris Beard's first recruit at a Seward County community college.
Stevenson for 3. Kanate grabs the rebound. 4 minutes to go in Morgantown. And a timeout called by Bob Huggins. He'll have 3 remaining.
There's a timeout on the court.
Well, it's been 4 years of Press Virginia and a lot of wins for Dexter Miles Jr. and Javon Carter. Do they have another one tonight?
Thank you to Mountaineer Nation for everything you guys have done for me, to the coaching staff, to the state, everybody who believed in me, and to those doubters, I'm here to prove you guys wrong.
What's up, Mountaineer Nation? I just want to say it's been an honor and a pleasure playing for you guys. This is a different state. Where I'm from, a lot of kids don't get to play in this environment or be able to get to go out of the city. So I just did it for you guys, man, JC, and also for my hometown. And it's been amazing, man. I love y'all. Thank you.
Very cool. I told you earlier, Rich, we kind of feel like part of senior night, especially when you watch guys come in as freshmen and they turn it over and Bob Huggins yells at them, and then there's seniors and Bob Huggins keeps yelling at them. But then they have 100 wins, you know, over the course of that time. Think about that, 25 wins a year that these guys have been a part of, and they're going to be going to their 4th NCAA tournament.
They've combined tonight for 33 points, 11 assists, 12 for 23 from the field tonight. And both of them have had just spectacular careers in their 4-year stay here in Morgantown.
Big fella, 7 of 8 tonight quietly, Konate.
14 points to go along with those 3 monster blocks. Step back, Stevenson, way off the mark. Tried to draw the foul. Keith Kimball's not buying it.
No. Tried to sell it, Stevenson. He's been pretty good tonight. Chris Beard, who had a great JUCO coaching career, knows that circuit really well, and he grabbed Naeem Stevenson right after he got the job, a first-team JUCO All-American out of Dallas.
Stops in Fort Scott Community College, Seminole State College, and then a couple of D2 schools, McMurray University, Angelo State, and then found his way into the Sun Belt, where he really set the world on fire there at Arkansas Little Rock. They got a win in the NCAA tournament against Purdue. And then everybody remembers the story after that. He took the job at UNLV, was there for a cup of coffee, if that. And then this job opened up at Texas Tech, and he just couldn't turn it down.
Well, he's a product, you know, he's a Dallas guy. He's a Texas graduate. He spent 10 years out in the South Plains with Bob and Pat Knight. The interesting thing about that whole scenario, when Tubby Smith left to go to Memphis, Memphis had to pay Texas Tech a pretty big buyout. So when Chris Beard took the Las Vegas job, and Texas Tech realized that that was their man, they just pretty much took the buyout and passed it on to UNLV, and everybody was happy. It was like a 3-way trade.
Miles missed them both.
Memphis got a great coach, Texas Tech got a great coach, and UNLV got $1 million. Or close to that sum.
Konate got the block, but it won't go down as one as the foul is called.
Foul is called on Wesley Perez, his 4th, team foul number 9. At the line for Texas Tech, Jared Culver.
So Jared Culver will step to the line looking for his 20th point on the night.
His dad is a minister in the Lubbock area, Hiawatha Culver, and he gives the pre-game prayer to the Texas Tech team during the home games. Terrific man. Got a chance to talk to him a couple weeks ago, and obviously he's got 2 terrific sons who are great athletes.
You would probably know this better than I would, certainly, but in reading up on Jared Culver, they say he might be the best basketball player from Lubbock since Craig Elo.
Craig Elo, yeah, who played junior college basketball out in West Texas, and then ended up playing at Washington State for a guy named George Raveling. Of course, a long NBA career.
Here's Carter for 3.
Well, we don't know if that'll be his last shot in this building, but if it was pretty. Great rotation.
And Culver in the corner gets the 3 to go. And a timeout called by Texas Tech. It's 24 points tonight for the freshman Jared Culver, one off his season and career high. Coming up tonight at 11 Eastern after Kansas, Texas on ESPN. Stick around for SportsCenter. John Buccigross and Steve Levy will have Joe Lunardi's breakdown on how tonight's games impact the NCAA tournament field. Plus, a look at what's behind the Warriors' road success. They're playing at Madison Square Garden. And reaction as Russell Wilson joins the Yankees. SportsCenter at night, 11 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. So you add Russell Wilson to Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge, and you have a brand new murderer's row in the Bronx, right?
No, those two guys make great tight ends, Judge and Stanton. Russell was a great baseball player, played in the minor league system, and his dream was to be a New York Yankee. Of course, he's an outstanding NFL quarterback at 5'11".
And I think the story was Russell Wilson was at NC State and wanted to continue playing baseball, and their head coach, Tom O'Brien, said, And so he said, you know what, I'm going to finish my career at Wisconsin. Took him to the Rose Bowl.
And they had a pretty good quarterback in Mike Glennon ready to go at NC State anyway. But speaking of quarterbacks, how about the job Javon Carter's done tonight? And where he's really improved, in my opinion, over the course of 4 years is his playmaking ability. Not necessarily a pure point guard when he arrived at Morgantown, but he's made himself, as we've mentioned many times tonight, into a complete player on both ends of the floor.
Just another Javon Carter kind of night. 19 points, 8 for 14 from the field, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 steals, of course. Here's the lob to Konate. And an exclamation point with under 2 minutes to go on senior night in Morgantown.
Eagle holding call for the personal foul. That's his second. Team foul number 10.
Only a sophomore, but certainly Sagaba Konate has been the third wheel in this night of celebrating the 2 seniors, Miles and Carter. Sags has 16 tonight to go along with 3 blocks. Stevenson misses the first free throw. And speaking of those seniors, tonight's players of the game, who else? Javon Carter and Daxter Miles, brought to you by Phillips 66. More deserving, I couldn't think of anyone tonight, Frank.
Well, we were concerned, as I often was with my seniors when I coached, about them being a little bit amped up, but they handled the moment great to start the game. Big lead early, and they've both been terrific tonight.
And possibly on the next whistle with a 14-point lead, maybe Bob Huggins will pull Daxter Miles Jr. and Javon Carter from the game, and wait till you hear the crowd when that happens. With 5 on the shot clock, Ahmad misses the slam. Stevenson. And there's the whistle stopping play with a foul at 1:17 to go.
Now this is going to give Jared Culver a chance to break his career high, 25 against Oklahoma State.
Well, what a night it's been. A night to remember among a career of games to remember for these two. Number 4, Daxter Miles Jr. Number 2, Javon Carter. Will be remembered forever fondly here by the Morgantown faithful.
Sorrels and Vigo check in for Texas Tech.
Well, Bob's not ready to give him a curtain call just yet. He's checking the clock, though. And that's 26 for Culver, and that's a new career high for that freshman. And Culver goes to the bench. An 81-69 lead for West Virginia, who has never trailed in this contest.
Texas Tech still battling, trying to get this game under 10. Coach Hugg's a little worried about this lead shrinking.
Not taking any liberties now. Miles tried for his own exclamation point, got the foul, and will go to the line instead. If anything, that shows you the athleticism of Daxter Miles Jr.
Yeah, pretty good right here. You're right. Defender slid in. Dax was trying to give the home crowd one more chance to cheer.
That went down. That would have been highlight number 1 on his career highlight list. That's 18 now for Dexter Miles Jr. And the crowd is sensing a curtain call coming up. Leroy Carter on the left, Dexter Miles Sr. on the right. Two proud papas.
Wonder if they're just going to come out together, you know, and probably would be fitting that way.
Stevenson, no. Kanate just over his outreached hand.
Basket by Antigua.
Here's Carter, and the foul is going to be called on Moretti.
Foul is whistled at number 25. Dominic Moretti is fourth. Javon Carter at the line for the foul here, shooting 2.
Well, Carter's at the line, and it looks almost like he's signaling to the bench, if I make these, I want to come out. He cans the first. 20 points tonight for Javon Carter.
See, what I would do right here is once he makes the second one, I would foul. I would foul, and then that would be the curtain call. Not that we ever practice this. But I'm worried they're going to stay in the game.
Well, he makes them both. Just one more time for the seniors to disagree with their head coach. And their head coach not to care at all.
Three-pointer by Stevenson.
A three-pointer by Stevenson gives him 24. And now we have a traveling violation called and a stoppage of play.
I believe it's a timeout, and that's a signal for a rolling timeout, which means all they want to do is get the ball, get the subs in, and that's what they're doing.
Take a bow. Dexter Carter and Javon Carter and Dexter Miles Jr.
One thing, Rich, give Texas Tech credit. They did not go away when they were down 27-7.
Well, it's going to be a successful senior night in Morgantown. West Virginia wins it by 10, 84-74 over Texas Tech. Javon Carter and Dexter Miles Jr. combined for 39 points, 4 rebounds, and 11 assists. West Virginia improves to 11-6 in conference play, alone in second place in the Big 12. And that's all from Morgantown. For Fran Fraschilla, I'm Rich Hollenberg. Up next, FIBA Basketball World Cup American qualifiers, Puerto Rico versus the USA. Let's send you out to Kaiser Permanente Arena in Santa Cruz.